Mahayana Buddhism is one of two main schools of Buddhist teachings. It originated in India and takes as its ideal the compassion and enlightenment of Bodhisattva. Mahayana Buddhists view Buddha as a manifestation of a divine being, instead of a supremely enlightened man. It originated in South India in the 1st century CE and includes Pure Land, Tibetan, and Zen Buddhism. It is the most widely practiced school of Buddhism and claims hundreds of millions of followers worldwide. This type of Buddhism incorporates a number of Mahayana Sutras, Buddhist discourses or scriptures. These sutras are said to represent original teachings of the Buddha, but are more likely from centuries after his time. Because of the contradictory elements of Mahayana Sutras, the teachings of the Buddhist school have been debated and scrutinized for centuries. Some of the sutras involve the ability to see reality as it really is and the attainment of high levels of consciousness through meditation. In Mahayana Buddhism, there are an infinite number of Buddhas, whereas other forms have only the Gautama Buddha. It relies on the practice of bodhisattva. It is an essential practice in this form of Buddhism and differs it from other forms. Bodhisattva is the pursuit of enlightenment and compassion. It is obtained through a dedication to others and is supposed to bring true happiness. Practices of bodhisattva strive toward complete enlightenment, and thus Buddhahood. The person practicing pledges themselves to helping others reach nirvana. Nirvana is reached when samsara, the cyclical existence of life in Buddhism, is escaped. The practicing bodhisattva avoids nirvana to stay in samsara and help others achieve nirvana. This act is an act of selflessness to achieve the eventual and inevitable liberation of every soul, as opposed to the individual liberation important to other forms of Buddhism. This Buddhism emphasizes awareness and wisdom. Mahayana Buddhism also emphasizes the emptiness of all things, or sunyata. This teaching states that all experiences and thoughts depend on reason, and therefore are interpretive. Thus, according to this type of Buddhism, nothing exists outside of the mind in absolute terms. They are, though, real in relative terms. Mahayana teaches, most importantly, that all living beings can become Buddhas. This Buddhism teaches that all things have the seed of Buddha in them, and through bodhisattva can strive toward Buddhahood. Mahayana Buddhism claims that any sentient being, those stuck in the samsara cycle of life, can reach bodhisattva, and help all souls reach nirvana. Early Mahayana Buddhism was encouraged by the Indian philosopher Nagarjuna. It became the dominant form of Buddhism of all of East Asia by the 7th century. Mahayana Buddhism is led by monks, though monastic life is less restrictive than in other forms of Buddhism. The school follows many of the important texts and sutras of other schools of Buddhism. It also follows many important and more recent ones not likely derived from Gautama Buddha. Though less conservative than the original forms of Buddhism created around the 5th century BCE, it is more widely practiced than theravada Buddhism.